changes coming to the Giants and Bills, and Super Bowl predictions coming up next on Sports Limelight, episode 70. How's it going, Drew?
It's going well, Bill. It's going well. How's your New Year?
So far, so good.
Yeah? Have you broken any of your New Year's resolutions?
I didn't make any, so didn't break any.
All right, nice.
I love how that works.
Right on.
Set the bar really low, if that's any advice I can give you in life.
That's right.
Under-promise, over-deliver.
Much like a couple of teams we're going to talk about.
A couple of teams that under-delivered. Let's start there. We'll start with the news. The Bills fired Chan Gailey today.
Yeah.
I think you were on record a couple weeks ago calling for that. So are you satisfied, and who do you want as the next coach?
Well, satisfied is a interesting term, but I would say just ready to move on. Just bring on new staff, whatever you can do. With the 6 coaches leaving this season, wouldn't mind seeing one of them come our way, maybe Andy Reid or Norv Turner possibly.
Reid would be a great get. I think Eagles fans, now this is easy for me to say because Eagles fans have their own unique frustrations with Reid, just like any team with their coach has unique frustrations. But I think Eagle fans are going to miss him more than they realize when he's gone, and maybe the next regime is struggling and not even making the playoffs like Reid so consistently did for most of his time there.
That's the interesting thing about the NFL. I should say being a coach in the NFL. It takes 2, 3, 5 years to get a solid team and maybe a Super Bowl victory and gets confidence in your fan base, but it only takes one bad year to kind of lose it.
Yeah.
And, get you on the hot seat. But then people seem to forget what you did the last 5 years.
The what have you done for me lately thing.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder how many of these 6 coaches that were fired, how many will play musical chairs and land somewhere else, and how many of the next coaches for these teams will not come from that group of 6, like there are desired college coaches right now, or coordinators from other teams. Please, someone hire Perry Fuel away from the Giants' defense.
I think with the exception of Andy Reid and maybe Norv Turner, unless you have the record or the numbers to back your own coach up, I think you're going to start seeing some fresh faces in here.
Of the guys that were fired, I think Romeo Crennel and Norv Turner, I could see them having a lot of success as coordinators elsewhere, but they might not get back to that head coaching position.
Right. I don't know how too often it is, but head coaches kind of getting downgraded to another team. Is that fairly common? Or
you probably have to swallow your pride a lot, and probably it'd be easier for Turner because he's older.
And plus, you always have that wild card of old coaches like Bill Cowher and whatnot. Get a match lit under their butts and want to coach again.
Yep, every year you got will Cowher come back? Will Gruden come back? Of course, the word with Cowher is he's waiting for Tom Coughlin to retire.
Really?
Which would be okay with me. I'd be happy to sign up for Bill Cowher as next coach of the Giants. Although, of course, getting back to the Andy Reid thing with Eagles fans, Steelers fans might tell me not so fast on Bill Cowher. He's not, the savior that I might think he would be. And he lost a lot of big games with the Steelers, with those great teams. And I guess you can say only won 1 Super Bowl after I think they hosted 4 AFC championship games. And Cowher kind of had that reputation of not being at his best as a coach in big games.
Well, I mean, not to take anything away from Cowher, but it's really hard to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think anybody who wins it's going to be a decent coach.
Agreed.
Going back to Super Bowl winning coaches now, what are your thoughts on Tom Coughlin and the Giants organization?
Well, we'll have plenty of time to over the spring and summer, so I don't want to take too much time here, but I wish Perry Fuel would go. It doesn't look like he will. It looks like most of the changes are going to be made personnel-wise to the defense. I think Osi Umenyiora has played his last game with the Giants. He's kind of surprisingly resigned to that fact in interviews. I heard him on the Michael Kay show yesterday, and he pretty much admitted, I think it's time to move on. And I would like to see Justin Tuck move on as well, or at least be reduced in role. Maybe keep him around as a situational pass rusher, and because he clearly isn't the same player anymore. Really need to upgrade the linebackers. They're kind of slow, non-impact kind of guys, and the secondary seems so lost at times. I like Prince Amukamara. He gives me hope for the secondary, but I don't know if Kenny Phillips is a free agent. Stevie Brown's a free agent. He'll be an interesting one because he doesn't have much of a proven record, but had 8 interceptions this year, kind of being in the right place at the right time. So what will that do for, the kind of offers he gets?
True. There's someone that I do feel bad about is Corey Webster.
He looked like an elite cornerback last year, and just this year wasn't the same. And it was kind of mental mistakes and, blown assignments and letting guys run right by him, not injuries or...
Yeah, those last 2 games against Baltimore and Atlanta.
Yeah, he was torched.
He was, I could see the back of his jersey multiple times.
Yeah. Well, to our Super Bowl predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll give both our Super Bowl prediction and our desired Super Bowl matchup.
I'm sticking with my preseason prediction, the Harbaugh Bowl, Baltimore, San Francisco. There was a little doubts with Baltimore there, and kind of like the mid-season. They were kind of struggling there, and then turned it on in the last half of the season. In San Francisco, can't count them out at all. But I guess my desired Super Bowl, Indianapolis versus Washington.
The rookie quarterback number 1 and number 2 picks matching up, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And now for his prediction, we bring in our guest for today. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Chris Marshall, welcome back, baby.
Mr. McGinnis, how's it going?
It's going great. Happy New Year.
You as well, gentlemen.
Hey, congrats on the Redskins making the playoffs, dude.
It's kind of embarrassing. I fully did not expect them to squeeze past anyone in the NFC East. Thought it would take one more year, but I was right. Shanahan was in a win-now situation. I just didn't expect it to come through.
Do you see them going to the Super Bowl?
Oh, hell no. And I don't mean to sound like a female billy goat, but just no. Too many other good teams in the fray.
7 wins in a row for the Redskins, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about for you, I would say. At 3-6, no one would have thought that they would go on this run, and you weren't wrong at the time, even if you would have said right then that this team is, not going anywhere. That was the right side of the prediction at the time, I think.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, no one got the Redskins right on this. I don't recall one person thinking that they were going to make it to the playoffs, let alone win the NFC East.
So, Chris, if you were a betting man, who would you have in the Super Bowl?
I want to see, of all things, Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. I'm actually kind of a Patriots fan beneath the surface, have been for a while. But I want to see Peyton go back there, and I kind of want to see the Seattle Seahawks go to the Super Bowl. I'm laughing at myself as I say that, but I think the Seahawks can slip through under the radar and take advantage of how big of a surprise they are and how underprepared everybody has been for them and get to the big game.
And they, along with the Redskins, sort of fit the mold in recent years of teams that do go to the Super Bowl, with teams that are hot at the right time and just get on a roll and peak during the playoffs.
That has always been the sentiment for every sport. You have to be peaking as you go into the playoffs.
And they certainly are. They've been crushing teams. The Redskins with a much longer winning streak, but they've been mostly close games. But Seattle, man, they have had some impressive blowouts.
Yeah, and who would have saw that coming? Prediction? I think the Vikings will be carried by Adrian Peterson's legs. The game's going to slow down. It's going to get more physical, and no one beats down defenses like a solid running back, and AP's the man.
That's a good pick. Best running back in the league.
Yeah, I mean, name a team that stops him.
No, with 2,000 yards, you're not going to get many of those. And he's coming up against a team first that doesn't have a good defense, so good matchup there with the Packers.
Right.
My desired Super Bowl, Washington-Denver.
A rehash of, what was it, the 87 Super Bowl?
That's right, Super Bowl 22 with that explosive second quarter by the Redskins, led by Doug Williams.
Yeah, and he had the MVP of the game and set more records than you could possibly fathom for not just a game, but a quarter.
You can do a lot when you have Art Monk and Gary Clark on your team.
But it would be kind of interesting to have a new black quarterback in Washington with Elway's hand-picked predecessor in Peyton Manning. That'd be an interesting storyline.
Elway would be up in the luxury box, the Redskins, shaking his fist. Oh, the Redskins have bested me again.
Yes,
after
like
all these years,
an evil cartoon character.
Yeah, he's petting a hairless cat as well.
Only because he's petted it so much. So it's furry everywhere else except the back.
So, Bill, who is your predicted Super Bowl matchup?
My predicted Super Bowl matchup, which I call the unbearable, Patriots versus 49ers. Jim Harbaugh makes Bill Belichick look like a sympathetic coaching figure that I would want to root for.
They had a pretty good game on Monday night, New England and San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, they did. They played each other. How about our MVP choice of the season? Chris, you mentioned Adrian Peterson and his ability to carry the Vikings all year. Is he your MVP?
No. My MVP is going to be Peyton Manning. Went to the Broncos coming off of a neck surgery that should have ended his career, basically. But he's back out there. Took a Tebow-less Bronco team this far. Looks as good as ever. No one expected that either. And I think he's going to sneak past whoever is next in line. In my opinion, the next person in line will actually be the Rookie of the Year, and we'll wait on that one.
I'd like to do Peyton Manning, but the Denver Broncos made the playoffs last year, so not much of a jump there with him in there. But I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. Solid year, one of the best years in a running back history, and got his team in the playoffs. What's more valuable than that?
On one hand, the quarterback position is now more than ever so important because it's a passing league. However, that makes Peterson all the more impressive, right? Because number one, it's to do what he did as a running back in, a passing era is amazing. And number two, Christian Ponder, while he's had moments this year, he's been pretty inconsistent the last half of the season. And opposing defenses know that they come in having to stop Peterson, but they still can't stop Peterson, so...
If I may be rude, I would like to say, for shame. Christian Ponder's awesome. That's really my only objection. Peyton Manning doesn't have a running back I can name, and I really think Peyton Manning did more on his own in Denver than Adrian Peterson did.
Whatever it ends up between those two, not a bad choice. It's amazing that these two MVP candidates are also the two comeback player of the year candidates. How about Rookie of the Year, starting with you, Chris?
Being a Redskin fan, I'm predisposed to saying Robert Griffin III. However, being as smart as I am, I'm picking Andrew Luck. No one expected the Colts to do anything, let alone do this. That kid is just outstanding. I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly, but my money's on Andrew Luck.
Yeah, set the rookie record for passing yards in the season, breaking Cam Newton's record last year.
And then my backup would actually be, Russell Wilson in Seattle, because that's another guy who came out of nowhere. Everyone expected RG3 to come in and change Washington and be the phenom. No one expected Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson to do what they did with those teams.
Yeah, Wilson, a third-round pick.
What I like about Russell Wilson is he wasn't the starter at the first of the year, as opposed to Luck and Griffin. He had to actually earn his spot.
Yeah, Luck and Griffin came in knowing that this was all theirs to either win with or to lose with.
Well, Bill, who's your prediction?
I'm going to go with Griffin. Just looking at their numbers here, Griffin only 5 interceptions, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 2 fumbles lost, so 7 turnovers. Luck, although, Drew, while you mentioned he broke the rookie passing yards record, 18 interceptions. And then Wilson also took good care of the ball, just 10 interceptions. So by virtue of the numbers and how opposing defenses had to react to him and play him, I'm going with Griffin.
You guys want to hear my prediction for Rookie of the Year?
Sure.
It's neither of those dudes. Alfred Morris, baby. The last 3 running backs to win Rookie of the Year, Clinton Portis, Cadillac Williams, and Adrian Peterson. Alfred Morris had more yards and touchdowns than all 3 of those guys. And he took his team to the playoffs, just as much as Robert Griffin did.
I can honestly not think of a single objection.
If it wasn't for Adrian Peterson this year, Morris would have been the top runner in the whole league.
So can we talk about Ray Lewis retiring?
Oh, we should. That's a great idea.
That's a pretty huge name to be stepping away from the game after missing so much of the season and working so hard to get back, and it looks like he can play the first game of the playoffs. My personal memory is when he was with the early 2000 teams, and that team just had the most fantastic defense. The defense was so spectacular, they really didn't need an offense. They could win that game with 11 men and then whoever was on special teams. And I think it was Trent Dilfer as the quarterback for the winning Super Bowl team.
It was.
But really the winning quarterback was Ray Lewis.
Well, yeah, he definitely was the best linebacker since Lawrence Taylor.
And that might not even be enough of a pat on the back for the guy.
17 seasons.
Yeah, and a career-ending injury that wouldn't end his career.
Oh, nice.
Well, Chris, good luck to your Redskins this weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on the show maybe next weekend after a victory.
Yes, I would love to share my pain of the Redskins losing next week.
Oh, man.
Right on.
Well, we hope you're wrong.
Either way, have a good evening, gentlemen.
Sports Limelight episode 70. Drew, thank you as well.
My pleasure, Bill.
We'll talk to you again soon.